This is Pakistan's federal parliament in Islamabad. The lower house of the parliament is preparing to resume a debate on whether or not to expel French ambassador over repeated incident of blasphemy in France against Islam's last prophet Muhammad. However, days before the resumption of parliamentary debate here, the European Union Parliament has come up with what appears to be counter-resolution to pressurize Islamabad to prevent the expulsion of French envoy from Pakistan. The European Parliament has decided to review with Pakistan our trade agreement known as Generalized System of Preferential Plus or GPS Plus over what it calls a rising anti-French sentiments and mistreatment of minorities under blasphemy laws in Pakistan. Under this trade deal, Islamabad gets an estimated annual additional 1.5 billion US dollar trade benefits, which are far less than the economic losses Pakistan suffers almost every year because of mass unrest linked with Islamophobia in France. The frequent incidents of blasphemy in France has led to mass unrest, killing of dozens of people, and bringing Pakistan to a grinding halt time and again. The repeated use of force against emotionally charged protesters have led to only pitched battles in the streets across Pakistan. The mass unrest ended 2 weeks ago, only after once again Pakistan's government pledged with the protesters to expel French envoy after seeking approval of the parliament.
The European Union wants them to weigh and to see whether this decision of expelling the French ambassador from Pakistan, will the government of Pakistan, will the people of Pakistan pay the price? Are they ready to pay this price? If they, are able to do something with regard to the apology, if somebody tenders apology to Pakistan or the Parliament of Pakistan on this blasphemy issue, I think that will solve the matter. Otherwise, it is not going to end.
European Union's concerns go much beyond possibly expelling French ambassador.
Pakistan's Prime Minister, Imran Khan, rather than defend his citizens' human rights against false accusers or reform its barbaric blasphemy law, equated denial of the Holocaust, a genocide, to criticism of Islam's prophet. Mr. President, Prime Minister Khan has crossed the Rubicon. EU policy towards countries that enable Islamic extremism must be resolute. Withdraw Pakistan's GSP Plus status now.
In an official reaction, Islamabad expressed disappointment with the European Union, pointing out that it reflects a lack of understanding in the context of blasphemy and associated religious sensitivities in Pakistan and elsewhere in the Muslim world. The blasphemy law was first introduced by the British Empire in 1860 in this part of the world to calm down the widespread public anger to prevent similar incidents of blasphemy against the Muslim prophet. None of the convict of the blasphemy law in Pakistan was ever executed in Pakistan after successive governments and superior judiciary allegedly buckled under pressure to set them free and let them migrate and settle in Europe. This created a public perception that there would never be a justice in these kind of cases, and many people took the law in their own hands and they lynched as many as 75 under trial prisoners and suspects. That shows that perhaps there is no trust of people in the judicial system of Pakistan, but at the same time there is another dark reality, and that is that this particular law has also been misused in isolated cases, though there has been a propaganda by the NGOs and some of the European countries as if this law is being misused in every cases. In most of the cases, unfortunately, the blasphemy has taken place, but since the media is not reporting all those cases where the blasphemy has taken place, but unfortunately those people were allowed to leave Pakistan. This has created a kind of public perception where whenever people see these suspects and under trial prisoners in jail or elsewhere, they simply lynch them. Javed Rana, The Digital Dispatch, Islamabad, Pakistan. growing tide of anti-Israel sentiments. What you see behind me is just tip of the iceberg of what is happening in the country. More than half of $52 billion black CIA budget is spent on espionage network in Pakistan. How would you handle it?
The US has looked upon Pakistan as an ally at one point and then as an enemy at the same time.
That is going to be the first legalism on the basis of which he is going to be instantly ousted by the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
Joining us live, Javed Rana, who's an expert on politics and geostrategic issues.
In the world politics, which is not being driven by any moral principle, it is being driven by the hard geostrategic realities. In a broader picture, more countries would aspire to have nuclear weapons.